Hey guys, it's Rebekah from the shop Sewn by Beck. I wanted to make my own little video. I've seen this video floating around from a few YouTubers, and it's their pros and cons of cloth pads, or the positive and negatives they've seen of using reusable menstrual products. So I wanted to make my own video, and I wrote down my list, and I have noticed that there are more pros than there are cons, and I'm sure that's a good thing. So I'm going to start with my cons first, because the pros are just okay, here we go. So my first one would have to be the addiction. I did not go into switching from disposables to cloth pads thinking that I would get addicted to it. I did not think that there was such a thing as an addiction to getting things, but I guess that's kind of like the way people are about LuLaRoe leggings. I finally purchased my first two LuLaRoe leggings, and I am in love. I am on a no spending week, though, so I cannot buy anything for the next week. Anyways, but it is an addiction. I went from 5 pads, like reusable menstrual products, to over almost 150. I'm almost close to 200 pads. And I have given rid of many, probably within 100. So I'd probably say I have within 200 to 300 pads that I've had in my possession, including the ones that I've given to people, not sold. But like I said, it is an addiction. You find this print and you're like, I gotta have it. And then there's customs, and I mean, I no way in the world would I have ever thought that I could be addicted to buying cloth pads, or buying and sewing up cloth pads for myself, but it happens. But it's a good thing, because it's not like you're throwing money away. You're getting something that you're going to use almost every month. And so to me, I mean, it kind of can be a bad thing, I guess, if your spouse is like, you've had enough, like my husband is. But I mean, I don't really consider it an addiction, but I guess some people can, because the pad addiction. But I mean, to me, it is, as long as I am buying what I know I'll use, or sewing up what I know I'll use. That's my reasoning behind it. I mean, you know. The next thing would have to be is the buying and selling market can get pretty hard. Sometimes I mean, I guess it is with anything, but you may have something that doesn't work for you, and it sits in the buy-sell trade group for like weeks to months maybe, and nobody's bought it, and that happens to me. I mean, it's just, some people are looking for different things, and some people just don't have the money to spend on pads or whatever it is. So sometimes the market can be hard at times. And the next thing would have to be the expensive parts. I've seen some pads go for like $20 a pad, not including shipping. And as a seller and a maker, I can understand the expense, but at the same time, that's a lot of money to put into one pad. It better be making me breakfast in the morning. Like, that's just how I feel. That's how I feel about LuLaRoe leggings too. Like, they're amazing, but I wait until somebody has them, like, in the price range I can afford. So yes, they can be expensive, but those are the top quality pads, like the top quality material. So you're paying as a seller for what the maker is making, if that makes sense. So if I'm going to make something that's going to be made out of organic bamboo velour, I can't even like think of the core right now, but super heavy organic bamboo fleece, top of the line Wimpro, that's going to be in a pretty expensive pad. And the longer they are, the more money they are too, because that's the more material you're using. So yes, sometimes they can get pretty expensive. The last thing I've seen this a few times from women, is not all pads, certain pad shops or certain pad makers have been available in all countries. Some U.S. makers, because of the FDA fee, have stopped selling outside of the U.S. So it's kind of hard for other people who want to buy pads and they don't sell, the seller does, or the maker doesn't sell to their country. So that's something that I've noticed, is that a lot of makers don't sell outside of the U.S. So for people who are in different countries, that can kind of be hard to find people who do sell, or they might not have as many options compared to living in the U.S. where everybody. Like I said, this is all my personal pros and cons. Sorry, my kids are just. I can never get a break. Okay, so pro number one for me is no more yeast infections. Woo! I used to get yeast infections constantly while on my period, plus not even on my period. I would ovulate and I would just get a yeast infection. I didn't understand what was wrong with my body. Yogurt. I went to multiple different doctors, multiple different OBs. I was at my OB office at least once a month, if not more, because of other bacterial infections I was getting while using disposable pads. And I just said, that's enough. I said, I've got to do something about it. I was tired of all the medications I was getting put on. And so I just said, that's enough. I've got to do something. And a friend actually mentioned the shop, Pink Lemonade Shop. I only have one pad by her, but she was not my first purchase. I researched, but so that was the first time I had ever heard about cloth pads, was from a friend. And so I don't have any more yeast infections, which is awesome. Stop. Look at all of Mommy's pads you can play with. Take them out and play with them. You like to do that. The second one would have to be the rashes. I used to get diaper rash, and it was really painful. It was really uncomfortable, and after a while, you're just like, what are my options? What is left for me? Why does this happen? So switching to reusable menstrual pads has helped completely with that. No more rashes. The next pro would definitely have to be comfortable. The comfortable factor, the comfy. So when I switched to using disposables to cloth pads, I felt an immense, a huge difference. With disposables, I would kind of make a crunchy sound when I walked, and the wings would rub up against the insides of my thighs. Using cloth pads, I don't have that problem. I mean, the only thing that's loud about, even remotely loud about cloth pads, is the snap, when you snap them. So here, let me show you. I mean, that's really the only sound you'd hear when you change them in the bathroom. So that's I guess a con about the comfortability, but I mean, they're way more comfortable than disposable pads. Not loud was the next one, so yeah, that is a pro. More options would have to be the next pro. Like I said, there are things like customs that you can do, so you can customize the pad, or the maker to make a pad just for you. And I've actually have a few custom pads from Bridget's Flame, or I think I got it from Hoo Hoo Rags, Creations by 5 as well. And I don't think I'm on a few wait lists for customs for Little Sister Textiles, and I think another shop maker, I can't remember. But yeah, customs are great. So you have way more options than you do than with disposable pads. The next pro is pretty prints. Obviously, having gorgeous prints to look at while you're on your period is, I guess, a pro. I mean, I would definitely consider it a pro because, I mean, look at how gorgeous these are. I mean, who wouldn't love to look at something like that while on your period? I mean, it's just great to have options and different prints to pick from. Not only that, but different sizes. I haven't looked at disposable pads in years, so I can't tell you if the different shapes and sizes they are, but I'm assuming they don't have like a 13-inch size or a 13 and a half or a 8.5. Like, you know, that's, a maker can so make a pattern fit just for you. So that's really nice. And the prints are amazing. The next pro, which is a big pro for me, is that you can learn to sew your own, which is why I started sewing my own, was because my husband, when we talked about investing in some cloth pads for me, he goes, well, why don't we get you a sewing machine and you can sew your own? I had never sewn before. I had never used a sewing machine before. But I learned, and quickly, very quickly, I now sew my own and am a little tiny business. I mean, I haven't really had much time to do it because all three of my girls keep me pretty busy. But yeah, I mean, you sew your own, and I see. And then, I mean, you know, the options are really then limitless because you can buy all the fabric you want and then have an entire basement full of fabric and no time to sew and be like me. I mean, who doesn't love that? Oh. So being able to sew my own has been a big reason why I still am using, or why I'm still loving it. The next one would have to be, the next pro would be, you can trade your pads or your graphics for pads or for other things. Like, I like to trade my pads for other pads, or jamboree nails, or nail polish, or makeup, or gift cards. It's really nice, or, I mean, cloth diapers. I mean, there's a lot of things that's nice about the trading world of, like, pads, is you can trade them, and that's the really nice thing. So that's a big thing. I've done trades before. That's basically what swaps are too. So that's a pro. The next pro would definitely have to be, you are supporting a small business owner. And that is a big thing that we need more of. We need more small business owners. And when you buy a cloth pad, or you, I guess, buy it from a maker, or you are supporting a small business. You're supporting them as a maker, and you're able to support them. Maybe that money goes towards their phone bill, or their house payment, or more fabric material. My last, when I saved up from my last sale, it went towards, I think it went towards a bill. I know that because we had enough money. I had enough in my little account to put in towards the big account to pay for something. I think it was a bill. But I felt amazing to be able to pay for it, because that was my small business. Like, that was my income that I brought in. So when you're supporting small businesses, and that's great. The last pro that I was able to think of was that you're able to use them over and over and over and over, kind of like how Nelly sings over and over again. So that's how you're able to use your cloth pads. You are just able to use them over and over again. I mean, really, it's just great. And that's the fun part about it. Is, I mean, look at all these cute, I mean, really, it's great. I love it. Sorry. So, I mean, they're awesome products, and if you are on the fence about buying them, I say go ahead and pull the trigger. There are D-stashes, like the cloth pad buy sell trade. You can get some really cheap in a D-stash. You can work with people for trades. If you are a jamboree seller, find somebody like me who is into jamboree, and you can trade your jamboree nail wraps for their product, or your whatever for their pads. And that's a really good way to start off too, Tori and Valerie. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I'm going to stop because my kids are getting a bit rowdy, and you won't be able to hear me in like 5 minutes. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Comment down below. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I will see you guys in my next video.